Everyone, I'm Jazz and that's Shar, and we are Black Girls Gab. And today we are going to recap what, Charnel?
Episode three
Three?
of at Married at First Sight. I'm flustered because
Yeah.
the episode was a lot, and we're gonna get into it. I mean, I think we both have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll just jump right in with our shining star couple of Chris and Paige.
Are they a shining star? Is that the right
No,
term?
no, they are actual opposite. And I'm feeling so bad for my girl. I feel so sad for her. As it kept going on, I'm like, wow, like they really played her. Like we knew already from some things we
We
saw
could
with
feel
Chris,
it.
we could feel it for real. But as soon as she got down the aisle, I said, oh, they played her. And a lot of it for me is about even the way he looks at her, or let me just say doesn't look at her. I made that note at the aisle. He barely looked at her. He
Mm-hmm.
was looking at the pastor, wanted to look his dad, looking at everyone except for her. It's like, this is your wife. You don't want to look at her. But we see later, I guess there's some reasonings for that. But it was like, I felt the awkwardness right from the jump. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I saw him say something under his breath, and I'm so glad they showed us what he said. And then the whole time, you're right, his body language, it was like barely facing her, it was really facing the pastor. I saw him look at the pastor and his dad. Like he kept going back and forth. It was so weird. And he wasn't looking at her. And the fact that she was able to pick up on it really pissed me off too. I mean, I'm happy she was, but the fact that it was so overt just made me so angry.
Yeah, yeah. Because sometimes it can be the editing. The editing gets weird, but this was not
Yeah.
about. It was literally
No.
him being horrible. I mean, it was bad. When the pastor was talking, he seemed interested in what the pastor was saying, like and things about her, but it just seemed like he was interested in what he was saying, but he wasn't connecting it back to her. It was like I'm engaged to him, but not it was just so strange to me. The whole thing was like so off. I didn't like any of that. I don't have
Either.
anything else about the actual wedding other than her vows were so beautiful. I thought she
Yes.
thought it out. I actually think that his weren't bad either, but he didn't even
Yeah.
look up to her. So I was like, well, then your words mean nothing to me. I thought hers were really beautiful. I thought she looked amazing, all that stuff. And then anything else for the actual
I have you're so like I have that. I thought the vows were nice as well. I thought hers were beautiful. I don't think his were bad. I just think that he obviously he wasn't looking at her. And I wasn't sure. See, here's the thing. Like when we think about Haley and Jacob wasn't really, he was a little weird too. Very weird in how he was reacting to her vows, but I just attribute it to him being like a quirky guy and he was nervous because he was talking about how attracted he was to her. He said that he likes someone who looks like Jennifer Aniston. So I thought, okay, this could work, you know? But I feel like because how we already saw Chris and knew how he went about things just based off of the couple episodes before, that made me be like, I don't think it's as much as a nerve thing as it is he's being disrespectful because he doesn't feel like he's attracted to her,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Totally agreed. And he just solidified that point because I don't know if he said that he wasn't attracted to her yet. That comes a little bit later.
Yeah, it
But
comes later.
But what he did say when they were getting the champagne and all that stuff was everything about his ex. All he wanted to talk about was his ex's dog, everything was about his ex. And I'm like, you just met someone who you don't even know what her last name is at this point. Don't you want to get to know about her? And she just seemed like she was really trying to propel the conversation forward. She was asking what he did for work. She was excited, but he was just like, yeah, man, I love dogs. My ex had a dog. I'm like, what?
To be fair, it did come in conversation, but it's just like obviously he's not savvy enough to steer the conversation or even emotionally intelligent enough, I think, to steer the conversation to not be about his ex. Because she did ask, like, oh, like, do you have any tattoos? And then she started talking about her dog. And then, so his answers didn't have to be, ex or forward, but I was just so disappointed. And honestly, throughout that whole reception or first meeting, I I was just so annoyed. I have so many notes for this. Um, he was talking about, I'm just so mad. he was talking about, well, when she started talking about who she was and what she did, she owns her own house. You know what? It's men like him who really pissed me off
Okay.
because he started talking about himself, like, yeah, told a little bit about his story and then talked about how he, was, I guess he started his own business, whatever. And you could tell that he was expecting her to be like, oh, that's so great. And she was like, oh, that's so great. But then she was also like, yeah, I've owned my own house for a few years now. And yeah, I'm also a real estate broker. And I was so worried about this. And I feel like we mentioned this last week that he was the type of guy to have such a huge ego and not want to be, he wants to be like the top dog, even in his relationship. And I worry, and I know we talked about this with like having, if she's really interested in like that conservative traditional relationship, which is obviously what I think he is going to try to bring to the table. And I think is what his father also showed a little bit later, which we'll talk about. Or if she wanted somebody who was just religious and Christian, but progressive. And I think that's really going to hurt this relationship because you could just tell he's like, she's too much of a top dog. She got it going on. She doesn't need him, but obviously she wants to work with him. She wants to be with him. And I could tell he's already like, oh, she's great. This is what I want to build my empire. If I hear empire one more time, ugh, but obviously she is bad. She's a great girl. She got a life together. She's way too good for him. I think she already knows it. Her friends saw it. They peeped it. Oh, it just pissed me off. It pissed me off. He's so simple. That's the word that I wrote down here. Simple. He is
Yeah.
so simple.
Yes.
Oh, he's one of those guys, him and his dad, who call women females. I feel it. He's
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those people.
Yeah.
Oh, that female. Oh my gosh, so simple, and it just pissed me off the entire time I was watching it.
I agree. I actually forgot that when the pastor was talking about him to her, he mentioned the whole thing where like get ready to be spoiled because he likes to spoil and this and it just seemed like it was setting up this thing for like, hey, I have this like part of my life that I want this girl to just sit in like
Fit right
happily.
into.
That's it. And honestly, I think as much as I think she's a top dog and she can clearly handle herself, I think she would be a woman who would be okay with having a man lead her, but
Yes,
not that man because
not that man.
he wants somebody who doesn't have a mouth, who looks, I mean, something that's not her. I don't, again, he didn't say what his type was, but clearly we know he's not attracted to her. So someone who looks beautiful to him and someone who shuts up and who doesn't have a job.
And
So
someone
it's like,
who apparently just lays there and has sex with him whenever he gets home.
exactly, which
Yeah.
the fact that your daddy opened his mouth to say that, just sickness. And the fact that the mom just sat there, I hated that moment. But I forgot that the pastor said that. It just seemed like it was setting it up. And she is so sweet and she's just like a courteous person. She like smiled and laughed about it, but like clearly she could take care of herself. And even like she said, she's not like a super, ritzy girl. She's kind of like a
Not
regular.
tomboy, not, yeah. And she's just like, no, no, no.
She's great, and I'm sure that she would like somebody to treat her nice and be, but she doesn't need that. And I think she'll be totally fine with being led. But just this man, he just wants to dominate somebody. He doesn't want
Yeah.
anyone who has an opinion other than I love God. That's the only opinion he wants you to have. He doesn't want you to say anything. He wants you to just be on his arm and that's it. And I hate that. I was honestly hoping, and I said this last week, I was hoping that once he got around her, he would like kind of soften up and I would feel like this nice, warm energy that happens sometimes. It didn't. He disappointed me greatly.
Yeah. It was like the worst. Like we were hoping he'd be kind of like mild and he was himself, which I don't know. I don't know if I would want to see that or if I wouldn't. Like, I think I'd rather maybe have him act who he truly is so I could see a glimpse of it on my wedding day so I could be like, all right, it is what it is. Then for him to act like he, had some sense and then turn up later after we were married. I'd rather go into it already seeing who he is and being like, yikes, okay, I already know I'm going to have some issues.
Yes, and she's a smart girl, so it's gonna
She
pick
knew.
up her, and we'll know. We'll talk about it more when we get to the reception. But like the signs are just coming out. I mean, this is the first day. She probably got 10 big signs like, hey, this isn't right for me. But we'll get to that. Anything else for just them talking with the champagne and the wedding? I have nothing.
He did mention that he got cheated on.
Yeah, he did. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that I'm not surprised. I don't want to say that it was surprising. I'm kind of just like, I guess, almost indifferent about it. But I also feel like he has this hyper masculinity where it's like, if he did get cheated on, I could see why he would act a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like that's the easiest way for me to say it without getting too deep. But
and I'm curious to see, he keeps talking about the ex, so I know we'll hear more about the ex, but like I'm curious to know, is that the one who cheated? Because that's also a lot. It's just a lot going on. You left this girl 2 months ago. She cheated. Like, that's why y'all broke up. Like, that's just so much. So I'm curious to see. I'm sure we'll keep hearing about this ex because he loves to talk about her. So that's great. Next up, we had Haley and Jacob, which this person, I honestly forgot his name the whole time. I had to look.
Me too.
For some reason, his name is not sticking for me. Like, I'm just not getting it. But I forgot. I think I told you this, maybe not in the last episode, maybe I just told you privately, but I said somebody loved to eat steak and eggs every day. That's all they ate.
Yeah. When he said that, I was like, oh, this is him.
I thought it was Ryan. It's not. It's him. And I'm like, oh, he's so weird. Like,
he was like, God. Yeah, every meal. She's like, okay.
He said it to Pastor Cal when Pastor Cal went to his house, and he was like, okay, like, that's really weird. He's like, no, it's like a diet thing. Okay, whatever. So I thought the weirdest thing to me was like when they started like in the hotel rooms and stuff, one of his groomsmen asked like, oh, what's your biggest deal breaker? Which, and he could have said this as a joke, but he was like, oh, if she doesn't like dogs. And it's like, is this really what you're looking to connect on? Like, if this person, I think he's another person where he has this 80s house and this and he's hoping that somebody and he's 38, like, so he just come sit here with me and we'll do these weird video games together and watch 80s movies. And it's just kind of strange and like, I don't know. So I didn't like that so much. And I loved how she was joking about running away with her dad. That was kind of funny, but I don't know. Is she the one who was always a bridesmaid? Is that her?
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Yep.
Okay.
You know what? I thought it was very interesting because in like her confessionals before she got married, she was talking about how she tends to write people off before giving them a chance. And she said she is picky.
Yes.
And she's going to be shell-shocked regardless. And I was thinking, why are you on the show? Why are you on the show? If you are somebody who tends to write people off before giving them a chance, this is married at first sight. It's literally one chance. Like you see them, and that's going to be the write-off if you're attracted to him, if you're not, depending on what he does. And so that I just didn't understand why would they put someone like her on the show out unless it was for entertainment reasons. That's
the only answer I could have to that is like, we don't know what her type is. Like maybe she described her type to the matchmakers and he is it. I don't know. Like I would assume. I don't think
How? He literally was like, yeah, I've been to Puerto Rico once. I just got my passport. Her life is centered around traveling. How the hell did you end up putting these two people together? This man who's set in his ways, has a fake ass beach in his backyard and 3 dogs, and you put him with a jet setter who's always out with her friends.
The only thing that they have in common is the dogs. That's the only thing they have in common. That's it. And maybe they said physically that they are each other's type. I don't know what their type, but that's the only thing I can think of, those dogs. But like you said, their lifestyles are not even the same. I'm not, maybe like what they like to do for fun, but what she likes to do for fun is traveling. So that really can't work. And then they have the 10-year age gap, which neither of them freaked out about when they heard it. They were both like, oh. Right. Yeah. So I kind of thought one of them was gonna be like, but neither of them really cared. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. But like, I'm worried about her moving into that house. Like, she's not going there. She's not going there.
Yeah, I mean, she has her own house. I don't see them compromising. I see her being like, once she figures out like this is not the guy for me, I can't believe that this is who they put me with. She's going to start probably, you know, taking her moving back a little bit. And honestly, I don't know what is up with these matchmakers putting these people together for what we feel is like a single issue. You know how there's like single issue voters? It's like there's a single problem or a single issue that they have, and like you're gonna put them together. Or there's a single thing that they have similar, and so you're gonna put them together. And this reminds me of like Brett and Olivia. Like they're like, oh, they're cat people. It's like, okay, so they're cat people. They have so many things that are different. Olivia wanted to travel. She wanted to spend her money on traveling and going out and doing this. And Brett's like, no, I need to be financially responsible. And that didn't work. And then you have these two. It's like the same thing. Oh, they love dogs.
Yeah. That's exactly, I wrote Olivia and Brett down because I thought of them instantly when they kept talking about the dogs. I'm like, okay, you know how many people love dogs? We live in America. People love their freaking dog. Like that's not a good enough reason. And I also thought about our people from last week, Eric and Virginia, because what's their one thing? They have something that they both like.
Traditional?
I don't even remember what their thing is. Do they even have something in common? Oh,
I thought it was just that they were grown up as traditional people. And maybe was their family in the service? I don't know.
The only thing I could think of, and it's not that this is similarity, it's something that could bring them together, is that he's more regimented and she's, a little bit fun. Maybe she'll bring out some fun. That's all I could think. But like, this is not, those two couples, there's literally no reason why these matchmakers should have put them together. Unless we're missing something, maybe we'll hear something later on. But like, even with Chris and Paige, as much as I know it's not going to work, I understand why they did it.
Right.
Like, I get it. It makes sense to me. Again, I hope she runs for the hills like next week, but I understand this one, like there's no way, unless I'm reading Haley wrong, she doesn't seem like a big compromiser to me, especially with a man like that. And I just can't imagine that she's going to pack her bags and move into that weird house. She's not doing it. So it's like, and he's never, and I feel like he's so set in his ways because he's 38. It's just like, he's not going to travel. Where'd she say she went? She went to Bali or Thailand. He's not
Everywhere.
going there. He went to San Juan. He went to San Juan. That was it. So it's like, I can't with him.
But even like their vows. So that was when I know we're kind of bouncing around, but obviously she was talking about that, about not compromising or whatever she said that I was mentioning before she got married. And then when she did get married, I mean, honestly, I was expecting her to be like, yikes, the whole time, but she wasn't. She was very she was a lot better than I thought she was going to be. She was happy. She was laughing. She was more relaxed, even if it was like a nervous laugh, more relaxed than him. I mean, like a lump on a log, like no smirk. Like, not, it was so weird. I would have been so turned off.
He's a very monotone person, but then he has like these random spurts of like, oh, like it's not like real energy. It's just kind of like, it's so, his personality is really like, it's like it's just, I don't think you couldn't put him in a room and like all the girls would like him or even a couple. Like, it just seems like he has trouble, even just socially. He looks like he has social, like a little bit.
Yeah.
And it could be because now I don't know if he said he's been single for a long time. That part I don't remember.
She's been single for 7 years, I think, right? But I don't know about him.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I think for both of them, this one's going to be a lot. I literally wrote down during the vows that I'm uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable watching that. But again, she had on such a brave face. She laughed through hers. She like had fun. And he was just looking at her like, at least he was looking at her, but he was looking at her and just like, It's like, speak up, say something, like smile a little bit or whatever. And I don't remember how was their kiss.
He could barely read.
I forgot to mention about Chris and Paige's kiss. Oh my God, that was
weird.
Gross.
I'm glad he asked her though. I'm glad he asked her, but it was still like, can I?
That's all. No, it was really weird. And then, but she instantly said yes, and he kept asking, like, on the lips? Yeah, like stop asking. I didn't like that so much, but yeah, that was honestly Haley and Jacob boring.
Yeah, they were very boring. Also, though, it was so weird. He said he's attracted to a bigger nose female. Like, what? What does that even mean? Is that like Barbara Streisand? Like, what? Is that Sarah Michelle Parker or whatever her name? Sarah Michelle? Is that her name? The girl on Sex and the... Yeah, Sarah, Like, what? What is
I was gonna ask you about it because I literally wrote down nose question mark. I'm like, did he say nose? Like the weirdest thing to say, I don't know. I feel like he probably said that because he has a big nose.
that's what I was, but still.
Or like maybe the girl he's loved the most had a big nose. Like, people are weird. People are so weird. They fixate on like one thing. That's the strangest thing I've ever heard. Big nose? Okay. I mean, I don't know. She didn't have
If
a big
that
nose.
Yeah, she doesn't have a big nose. That was weird. That was so weird. That was weird.
If you were to meet him and like you had a 5-minute conversation, you walked away from him, you would go, huh, wow. Like it just so
Yeah.
like you wouldn't even have anything like nothing bad. It's just such an interesting human. I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear more about him. I can't wait
Are
till
you?
yes, because just to see like how his mind works, because he's really I don't want to call him strange because everybody has the way they are, but I just want to dig a little bit deeper into who he is. Again, I know he's not right for her. I know he's not right for her, but like something about him intrigues me. I'm just a little bit curious about him. I want to dissect his brain a little bit.
Girl, if it wasn't for these videos and Black Girls Gab, I would be fast forwarding through every time I saw them on the screen.
I mean,
I'm like,
check
what?
me in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, I might be like, oh, I'm over it. Who knows?
Yeah.
It might be bad. So we'll see. But
yeah, this is like, I just couldn't believe. I'm like, this is a mess, and it's not even like they're entertaining. Like for me, I'm like,
no.
Like I don't know. The girl, I mean, boring.
I was more entertained by Eric and Virginia than them.
Right. I'm gonna be watching to see how Eric and Virginia interact. Clara, I want to see how Clara and Ryan interact. Obviously, the other two are entertainment, so I'm gonna watch them too. This, yeah, I might just click, fast forward 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Call it.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was just weird. They're weird. Odd couple, awkward.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think between like the receptions, they showed like a little bit of like other people before we saw their reception. And I also wanted to point out that I saw a little clip. I don't know if you saw this or if you missed it, of Vincent kissing Bree's back and shoulders. Oh, this was later. My bad. This is later. It was so cute. We'll go back to this. No, I guess it wasn't at the wedding. I thought it was. That's why I brought it up. But I think it was like when he was taking off her dress, he kissed her back. I was like, oh, so cute.
He's gonna be a little spicy, he's Dominican. He's gonna be cute.
It was so cute. It was so cute.
Okay, what's your next thing now after Haley and Jacob?
Well, we have to go talk about I mean, I don't even have much about the reception of for Haley and Jacob because I was just over them. But we can talk about the reception for Chris and Paige since.
Yeah, that'll be great. I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say about that conversation with her friends because the friends. The one who kept talking, she knew what was up. Okay,
she knew. She
instantly sniffed out this ain't right because she kept reiterating like, "Hey, she's not just a pretty face. It's not just a body. She's not just a pretty face. She has a lot of things going on for us." And he was like, "Yeah, but," and he like kept dismissing that. And she's like, "No, like she's a well-rounded woman with things going for her. She's not just gonna be a lapdog. She's not just gonna sit by your side." And he just didn't really seem to be listening to any of that.
Yeah, she's the girl I need, but not the girl I want.
Oh, and mind you, who says that to a group of best friends when you just met them? Like, that's crazy to me. If you must say that, it was very inappropriate, but you better go say it to your groomsmen. You don't go talk to her best friends and say she's the woman I need but not want. Did he actually say to them that she was unattractive? What did he say to
them? He said, "Oh, she just doesn't seem like she's like one of those pretty girls." Like he meant to say that he was trying to say one of those pretty girls who like is only with guys for money. But the fact that he just still said pretty girls made me upset. It was just weird.
He's lumping her into a group that's not the pretty girls, and it's like, where is that coming from?
And what does he mean by pretty girls? Because I
know what he means.
What do you mean, Shodo?
Because that is a pretty girl. Okay, that girl is a very pretty girl. So I know what he means. Again, I haven't seen his exes. but I will be shocked if any of them are any darker than me. I will be shocked because that girl is a beautiful girl. So I think he's saying that pretty girls, you know,
Yeah, I think he might be saying like he dated girls that look like you. And
sick, honestly
that
sick. I can't,
yeah,
can't with that.
that
It's
really
just like
just
he was trying to say that without saying it because I just kept thinking because all he kept saying is like, "Oh, I love her body, but she's not." Okay, so what part of her is not true? I would just love to know. I hope that we get to see the ex. I hope he FaceTimes the ex something so we can, or it comes out on the internet or whatever, so we can see her. Because I bet you she's just like some. You know what? Let me not. I mean, I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
yeah, but honestly, we keep like we keep bouncing around because there was so much that happened, but there was stuff that happened before he even talked to the friends, I think.
Okay, what happened? Go ahead.
So when he before he talked to the friends, he was talking about how his ego used to be bad. I was like, used to? Okay, whatever. Then he talks about how because they're eating, so they're sitting by themselves at the front, and she's asking them questions about the ex, trying to get more into it. And I thought that she was so classy and poised in how she was asking these questions, not trying to judge him, but really just trying to like figure out where he was in like the stage of did he get over the ex or not, right? I think how she was asking these questions was very classy, very assertive. I appreciated her. And he mentioned that he was missing companionship, so he had friends on the side.
I forgot about that. Whew.
He's told his new wife. So which one is it? I mean, they might have cheated on each other, but you're gonna. I don't know if it's for empathy. Be like, yeah, she cheated on me to feel better about meeting your first wife or your wife for the first time, so that she feels more comfortable being with you. And then as you start drinking and as you start getting more comfortable, you eat in and you're like, yeah, I didn't really feel like she was my companion. I was missing companionship, so I had friends on the side, aka I cheated on her.
Yeah.
That like it just. Then
I forgot that he said that, but that's actually crazy because he had just said an hour before that he's been cheated on. So, and of course, both things can be true.
yeah.
And he might be the type of man that once he finds out he's cheated on, it's like, oh, I'm going out in the streets of Atlanta and finding any girl who will sleep with me, and I'm gonna call them my friend. He might be like that. Um, but it's just very concerning. And also, I'm not saying that you have to be lying to your wife on the first date,
Right.
but I would say that some things maybe just soften the blow a little bit, or you could even be like, oh, we can talk about this in detail later, but basically, like, we both were unfaithful to each other. It was a really unfortunate situation. Move on. Like, it's just he's so specific. So, or like, this is technically a first date, and I know if somebody said that to me on the first date, I'm never calling you. I'm never calling you again. That's it. That's it. I don't care how nice you are. Because it's just too much. You can have some conversations, but just and she was curious, so she was definitely asking, but it was like, this is too
It's
and
too
I know
much.
it's his past and it's obviously his truth, so it's not and he deserves love, but it's like this is just not how you ease your new wife who wants to be comfortable with you into this. It was just
Mm.
a lot, but she kept going on. I was like, oh,
She
girl.
can't. Yeah, because I mean, she was like, this is gonna be a hot mess. But let me just maybe she is, I guess, like me in the sense of, yeah, it's a lot, but I mean, I guess I'd rather know. I got my friends here before I go on the honeymoon with it's just you for a little bit. Let me at least tell my friends how this ain't right. This is probably not going to work out. I mean, I can only imagine if I was her, I'd be like, just like her asking questions and being like, what? And then I would be going to my friends, like I go to you and be like, yeah, this is I'm not sure about this.
I agree, and who knows? They chop up editing and stuff weird. But
Yeah,
I'm bouncing a little bit. But after he talked to the friends, and then she talked to her friends,
yeah,
the friends basically said, "Oh, he's a little suspect, whatever." But the main thing that concerned them was what was oh was the fiance
yeah,
that he had just fiance or whatever. And she was like, "Yeah, I agree." And then they were like, "Oh, what about what you're gonna wear tonight?" And then she's talking about things she wants to wear and things like this.
yeah,
I'm like, I would want to put on a hoodie and sleep on the couch. Okay. I don't want to sleep near you. But she
yeah.
seemed like wanted that.
She was
I
still
don't.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like she's such a positive
Yeah,
person. I
she
feel like
is.
he's going to take like her sparkle. I can see it. Like I feel like he's gonna take that thing about her that I think makes her so charismatic and trusting and great. And I don't think she's gonna trust anybody for a long time. Honestly,
Yeah.
I can feel that. I feel like she's such a open person. She's a trusting person. She's like a forgiving person. She puts God first. I feel like he's just gonna play her, and it's gonna be so sad.
Yeah. Like even when she talks, it's just so like soft and calming in her demeanor. And I could listen to her talk all day, just like how she talks. She used to be like on like a headspace and just like do meditation.
Yep.
But so sweet. And he was just so inappropriate. And he, like, cause even at dinner they asked her if she's a virgin. How do you go from I had friendships on the side, yeah, I cheated on my ex after she cheated on me, to hey, are you a virgin? Yeah, between bites. Yeah, are you a virgin? What?
But not just are you a virgin? Also, are you on any birth control?
Are you on contraception?
What type? Who are you asking this woman on the first day? I couldn't believe it. And you know, sometimes they show them talking and they're not showing them actually talking. So like, oh, maybe he said it later. No, he said it right there. They showed his mouth moving, saying, "Are you on contraception?" at that table, and she was like, "What?" And even when he asked her if she was a virgin, she was a little bit taken aback because it was like, where? Because it's nothing's wrong with being a virgin, but like, where are you getting that from to start with? And why is that a question you want to ask me on the first day?
Well, remember, so between that, so he asked her if she was a virgin. They
Yeah,
panned out,
yeah,
and they had, I guess, the father was talking to like friends or brother or whatever about her body, which was inappropriate.
very,
And
yes.
then it panned it back to Paige and Chris, him asking her if she had a high sex drive, right after he asked her if she was a virgin. Do you have a high sex drive? Then he goes into a personal story that I don't know if she was supposed to relate to about him fasting. I'm like, wait a second. What type of fasting is he talking about? And then he was like, yes, but because I wanted to keep it for you, so I wasn't masturbating. What? All at the dinner table. If you wouldn't have this conversation with a random stranger at a dinner table, why do you think it's appropriate for you to have this conversation with your wife who you are meeting for the first time while she's eating dinner?
Oh God. It was
And then he
no
asked about contraception.
that was so and we can get into the dad because the dad started. He was as soon as I saw him see her, I was like, gross. Literally
Gross.
gross.
Disgusting.
Like, I don't want to say too much, son, but your wife has a nice shape. Have you seen her shape? But it's like, you're 60. Like, stop this. This is disgusting. And she's now your
Mm-hmm.
daughter. Like,
Yeah.
he's just like someone you want to like stick your nose up at whenever you look. It's just gross. I hated that. And then I also hated that conversation he had. I think you're right. I think it was his brother, whoever, that he kept saying that. He's like, about her shape. And I don't want to say too much about her shape, but then don't say it. Then don't say it then if you don't want to say it. It was just so weird. And then when he talked to her with the mom talking about, oh, my son likes to be, he has a long day. Firstly, she's gonna have long days too, by the way. She works. She has more than one job. She's
And has a
busy.
great job. Yep.
Yeah, he's accomplished. But then it turns into, oh, he has really busy days and he's gonna want to be satisfied. Often. He used the word often.
He
Like
used the word
what?
often.
It's not like there's anything wrong with wanting that or what, but it should never be coming from your dad because and it should never also be explained or anything the first day you meet.
Yeah.
Why is that the first day you meet? So much of the conversation, whether it was with her and the dad or with her and Chris, together, was about what their sex was going to be like. And it's like,
Yeah. Between the honeymoon babies door, and they also had this friends had an issue with the honeymoon babies. But between the honeymoon babies comment from his friends and family during the vows to when his dad spoke about his son and
yes,
talked about how he was just hoping that his son found love, but then how he wants grandkids. And I was like, what? That's inappropriate.
very.
And then him having a side conversation with the wife right there. You could tell the wife was like, she said something which showed that she was over it. But that is so inappropriate. And obviously you raised your son and that's your husband. So if you're not saying anything, that's an issue, right?
Yeah.
And it was just for me so simple. It was like that women are only made for childbearing mentality. Just lay on your back and that's what you're good for. And I just don't understand how, and this I think this is a larger issue around a lot of communities, but with men in general, is it's like you want this woman who is so successful, right? But at the same time, you want her to strip her success, and if she even wants to keep that, right, to then start a family and take all that away from her, whether she wants to do that or not. But that's not your choice. And
Yeah.
it's just so interesting that I feel like a lot of men have that mentality of, I want this very accomplished woman on my arm. This is who I see myself with. But then they don't want to take all of her accomplishments and the type of success that she has and the achievements that she has, right? And the perseverance with them in that relationship. They kind of want to strip her down and kind of dull her sparkle. And I feel like that's the type of person that Chris is, and that's what he's going to do to his wife. And who knows? That's maybe what the dad did to the mom, because they were all happy that she was so great. She had this great shape, but you just want her to lay down. It just pissed me off. I couldn't believe it.
Well, let me say that for speaking for his mom, she didn't look like she had much sparkle to me. It looks like her sparkle was dim 30 years ago by
That's
that
what I'm
man.
saying. Right.
Who knows what type of woman she was before, but it just seems like, and we talk about this often, but we hear this rhetoric so much from men of like, oh, I want a woman who, has a college degree, who makes this amount of money, who does this. No, you don't. No, you want to make however much money you want to make. You want to wait till you're 35 to finally settle down because you're rich enough or whatever. And you want your wife to sit there and look pretty and nice,
And
not
just be
having.
there for you. Yep. Go on dates, maybe hang out. You want a companion. You don't want a partnership or a relationship. You want
Yeah.
someone to be there at your beck and call, someone who is going to maybe make you food, but you don't want what it takes to actually be in a relationship.
No. He's falling right into those stereotypes that I see so often, especially how old is he?
Like 26, maybe
Okay.
27. I don't know. He's definitely in his 20s.
Okay. I feel like from 26 to like 30, we hear this often of like this group of men who's like, oh, especially who they deem themselves as successful. He deems himself successful, which is fine. But it's like, okay, I'm looking for a woman who has all these things, who looks this way, whatever this way means, whatever, who looks like this, who has all these things, whatever. But then when they when they do have all these things and it's too much, now we're talking about, oh, she's not pretty enough. She's not this, she's not that, whatever. He's so full of crap. To me, he's
A little bit.
so, because there's nothing wrong with that girl, like nothing. I feel like she's not, and not that it would be an issue, but she's not even like a super, like, I'm gonna talk back and I'm gonna argue about everything. I feel like she's somebody who wants to partner up.
Yes,
She
she is.
wants to feel accomplished with her husband. She wants to be an equal. She wants to be heard, but she doesn't seem like someone who's going to be bossy. She doesn't seem
Nope.
like this. She's very, to me, demure. She has a, like you said, a really calming personality, and it's like that's not enough because she, does all these great things. I just feel like that comment he made when he finally said that he wasn't attracted to her, it really threw me off, because I was
Yep.
like,
He
I
said
just
she
don't.
wasn't a trophy wife. Like, what does that mean? She's
Yeah,
not the trophy wife type. And her friend was like, no, that's not. She is a trophy wife, but she also has her own. You can be both. Look at
right.
Sierra. Look at Beyonce. Come on. You
Yeah.
can be both. It's
He has a definition of trophy wife, and again, we don't know it. We can estimate it, but like we don't know it. We just know that she doesn't fit it, which is like, so it's just a little bit surprising. Like I said last week, I thought that this whole thing was a joke and that he was going to see her and be like, oh, she's super fine, and that's it. I honestly thought he was going to say that. I was kind of shocked, where it was like, no. So everything about it, like, I know where it comes from, because when you see him talking to his friends and when you see him talking to his daddy, I'm like, okay, this is just passed down.
yep.
Because, and how his mom has nothing to say when her husband is wilding out talking about sex to her now daughter-in-law, and you have nothing to say. Like I said, that girl has been silenced for 30 years. You have nothing to say when this young girl is being told about how to pleasure your son and how often to pleasure your son. This is disgusting. I was like so disgusted, and I hope when they
Yeah.
watch it back, they feel very bad about themselves, because that was, to me, that was horrible. I
Yeah.
hated that.
It was
Yeah,
disgusting. It was honestly, I just they are simple. They are simple.
Woo!
They are. It felt like obviously he's a product of his environment. Who can you blame for that? I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, people are only understand their from their experiences and how they were brought up, and I can't blame him for that. But it's just so crazy because you could read this. Like I felt this just by seeing who he was in the first couple episodes. And unfortunately, like I did put him into like this box, and unfortunately,
He fit right in it.
he fit right in it. You could just tell the type of guy he was, and I'm so upset for Paige because I think she deserved better. And obviously, he's from the previews, which we'll talk about later. He's going to continue to turn up, but he also said marriage is more than careers and money,
Mm-hmm.
which he just seems like he's so like back and forth. Like, which one is it? Do you want a trophy wife? But then it's like, yeah, but marriage is more than careers and money. Was he talking specifically because Paige has a great career and she has money, and to tell them like, yeah, it's more than that to me. Like, she needs to be attractive. Is that how what he was trying to say through the lines?
Yeah.
I don't know. He also mentioned how he has good pull out game, which I thought was disgusting.
Oh,
I forgot how that was mentioned, but he said that he had great pull out game, and he said he hasn't decided if he wants to have sex with her or not. Like, she doesn't have a choice.
yeah, he was talking. I think he was talking to the groomsmen at that point. They were asking, like, "Oh, are you gonna?" Which, to be fair, I don't even care that they asked him about that because, like, men
No,
do that. All of the other husbands, they did the same thing. Nobody answered like that. Nobody did. But he was so quick to be like, "Oh, yeah, I just don't think I'm gonna take it there, or I'm gonna." Everything's not about you, and
it's not.
it just seems like he's used to somebody, at his beck and call. And maybe this girl who cheated on him really broke him down, and then he turned into this. I just feel like you said, he fell into this box that we already knew he was going to be a part of. But especially in the thing where, like, I don't know how he grew up, but we heard the situation that he was living in his car, all this stuff. So he has this big come up story for, like, career wise and all this stuff. I feel like so many men, especially at that age, focus so much on, like, oh, for me to be a better person, that means I need to make more money. I
Yeah,
need to I need to level up my career. I need to do all these things. Not I need to go to therapy. Not I need to deal with childhood trauma. Not I had to deal with the fact that I have a crazy daddy. None of that. Just the fact I
none of
need to make,
that.
and then I'll get the girl that I want. That's literally how it goes. And then nothing's now solved, and you're a misogynist. That's it. Like, at this age, it's horrible. I hated it. I
Yeah,
hated
it
it.
looks
He
like he
fell.
was raised like that, but
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
was just sad about it. I'm really sad for her because well, no, we've met a lot of nice girls on the show, which we, feel sad for, but this is one where I'm like, oh,
yeah, she
girl.
was so optimistic. And to be honest, whenever I watch any of these shows, like, I'm rooting for everybody black at the end of the day.
Of
And
course.
so then when I see a couple like this, a black couple at
Yes.
that, and he's acting up, like, come on, Pastor Cal.
I
Come
know.
on.
I
Come
know.
on. You knew better. You knew
You,
better.
you
You,
did.
like, come on. You can tell if I had one conversation with Chris, it would just take me one conversation. Like,
Well,
I'm not even gonna.
Pastor Cal was the one who went to Chris's house. I don't know who went to Paige's house. I don't remember. Maybe Dr. Pepper. I can't remember. But Pastor Cal went, and he was a little bit surprised because, he went to the closet and there were all these shoes and all. So, like, every time he was talking to Chris, he looked a little thrown off. But I think they were just so focused on the fact they were both Christian and they both had these same values. They were both accomplished at, whatever. So I think that they were just running with that. I honestly understand why they did it. It just, he should have never been picked for this show. It's
No,
it's not her. They
no,
could have found in Atlanta. They could have found a black man who was Christian and was successful, who didn't have this ego and this crazy vibrato about him, where it's like it's all about me, 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 and my pleasure. It's
mm,
crazy. He should have never been chosen. But I feel like for some reason the girl who's like my favorite, or not my favorite, but just the one who has like the most sweet, cool personality is always the one who gets played bad. That she's reminding me of Mindy. where Mindy got, she was the ice skating one where it was like, she was so sweet and she was the most optimistic about the process. And her husband was like, oh yeah, I'm not attracted to you.
Off the
When
jump.
he was a loser. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like they know. You can tell just based off of sociology or psychology, whatever Dr. Pepper oversees, if a person is right or not in the head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And it's apparent that him and the other man that we talk about often who was on the show last 2 seasons ago, DC, the one with the anxiety. Nothing's wrong with the anxiety. Brandon. Where's the psych eval? You can tell so quick just by having a conversation with these people. It's not like just an awkward thing, right? Like even with Brett, it's more than I'm a little awkward, I'm a little different. It's like there's something else there that Christina last season, like they don't really, they're not telling you everything that they should. And that's why I'm thinking that these are really more so for entertainment, and that they might have one or two couples that they really truly feel are going to work out. And the other ones are just kind of like, let's just see how it goes. It might work, it might not.
And like I said, I understand the entertainment part. I really do. But it's like, at what price now? Because look at someone like Christina, who was a terror. Like, honestly, she was a horrible human and got put with that nice boy, Henry. Like, yeah. What type of traumatic effects does he now have just for the sake of the show? It, like, for me, I always think it's best to, like, I think Virginia is a perfect example. Put her with someone who's also like young and wild and crazy, who she'll probably fight with the whole time, but that they might work. Like at least there's something that they have in common. Maybe they both like to party and go out, but they're probably going to argue about it anyway. Like something where it could work. But like this idea of like, we just need to make a show. So like these people at the end, they're not going to be feeling great. Paige is not going to be good after this. This is going to be, I think, dramatic. It's just so sad to see. I feel like we've seen so many people like that. Like even Mindy, or was Mindy the one where the guy dated or was trying to hook up with her best friend? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what?
Yeah,
that was, and you can't tell me that guy they didn't know he was like he was horrible.
He was horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah, I mean, just a mess. And I guess for all the listeners out there, let us know below if you feel like there are any entertainment couples, if you agree with us, because this is like, yeah, I feel strongly about them doing this. Like it just seems like at least one or two are strictly entertainment couples.
Yes. I just feel like if they had to defend themselves, like they would never say they put Chris and Paige together for entertainment, because they would stick by the thing of like, oh, they're both strong Christians and they're both successful. Like they would stick through that.
But they should know better that it takes more than that to be in a successful relationship, right? Their values need to be the same mindset, and maybe they got to change their questions, obviously, because that whole conservative versus traditional versus progressive versus whatever that means, chivalrous, all those things seem to keep messing up every season. So obviously they need to figure that out.
You know what I think doing? They should be kind of talking them through how their last relationship dynamic was, because I honestly think if they talk to Chris and they talk to Paige, even though I know Chris is crazy, I think that a lot of things would match up, because I think that Chris would tell the experts that he would want somebody who's successful and accomplished. I think he's lying once he meets them, but sure
that's what he thinks. That's probably what he thinks, but that's not what he wants.
Told them that he wanted somebody who was career focused, who was this, who was beautiful, who was a strong woman, a strong Black woman, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't want any of that because he got one and he didn't want it. So I think that with this one, honestly, I think that they tried. And again, I don't think Chris should have been on the show. That's it. But I think in terms of what he probably said to them, I bet you he said he wanted Paige. And then he got her and didn't like the way she looked. So he made up all these excuses. It's literally crazy. And she wasn't a trophy wife, as he said.
Yeah. He probably acts like he wants to build his empire with a woman who's very successful, but that's not what he wants. I also feel like a lot of men, whatever race or ethnicity, I feel like they have this idea of what a marriage looks like, whether it's because they see their parents' marriage or they see it on TV, and they try to, do their best to be as successful as they can. And, they have this image of what this person is going to be, and they want that person to just fit into the life, just like we were saying earlier. And then that doesn't work because they don't truly see or have really deep relationships to understand what it takes to actually be in a marriage, right? What it takes to actually be in a relationship that's not that's long term, right? Long lasting, not something that you can just get rid of or just like swipe right and just be with them for a day and then decide not to be with them anymore. Like I feel like a lot of men these days don't have a lot of real relationship experience outside of what they may see on TV and their parents. And they
Yeah.
expect that it's just going to be very simple. And they think that they know what they want based off of what they might see in their parents, what their parents might be telling them. And that's actually what they want. And they need to be doing all the work that they can to get, honestly, the therapy, the thought of like what they actually want in their heads, in their minds, before they go searching for something and saying that it's something that they want and it's not, because they have this
Well,
idea and it's not their own. Their idea is not their own. Unfortunately, they need to get a real experience and someone to slap them up. Not really, but like,
I think that if Chris heard what you just said, I think that he would say to you, but I have that experience. I've been engaged twice. I think that would be his response. Like, that to me just isn't, it's, I have to hear more about it. And like I said, I'm sure we'll hear it, but like, I feel like he honestly thinks he knows. I think he thinks he knows everything and he doesn't know anything. But I think he believes he knows what he wants in a woman. And he can know it within the first 2 minutes just looking at you, yes or no. Because all he wants is looks.
uh,
That's it. Someone who's not going to cheat on him, obviously. That whole
obviously,
issue. But
well,
he wants someone in the
yeah,
house cooking and cleaning, and that's it. But
so
he just,
unfortunate.
I'm so sad for her.
Yeah, I'm sad for her too. And I think how like it ended, I thought what her friend said was great was, you are so much more than a woman with ovaries.
Amen. Amen.
But that's how I felt the entire time, that all the interactions with his family and hers, that's how it was feeling. Like you are so much more than that. And they're trying to diminish you into that. And if you want that type of relationship, there are plenty of women who are very religious, specifically, who want that type of
Yeah.
like almost like submissive relationship, right? Where the man is leading and they're leading with God, and that is completely fine. That's the path you want to walk.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like that's the path that she's trying to walk through. And it's just unfortunate for her that she got a man who has that mindset, whether or not he knows that.
I think he knows it. I think he's just a little bit too much of a coward to admit it. And I think that's, when he was in the confessionals, even talking about her looks and all that, he's just a coward to me. He's just a freaking loser. And I'm over it. I honestly, last week I was talking a little crap, but I'm like, you know what? I bet next week he'll see her, his eyes are gonna light up, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna love. I honestly thought I was gonna love him by the end. Nope, nope. And by the preview, which we'll get to, it's not. It's not on the up and up. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, I think we're actually ready for the preview, unless you have anything else to add, because I'm pretty sure
No, the only thing I thought was cute. They showed a clip of Brianna and Vincent. Well, no, Brianna talking to her friends, and I think he's the one with the last name Morales. And they were like, "Oh, are you going to change?" She
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, ASAP." I'm going to. I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
yes, love it." They're just
Yeah.
so they
They're
killed
like
that.
Miles Morales. She was like, nope, no more hyphenate. I'm going all in Morales.
Love it.
It was
So cute.
cute.
I thought that was so sweet, and they were also cute. And there were maybe that was when they were
I
in the
think that's
hotel when he kissed. I didn't see that, which is so sad, but that's adorable. If he
yeah.
kissed her back, that's cute. But that's all I had, really.
Now let's get into the season clip.
Okay, so let's start with Clara and Ryan.
Okay.
So they look like their biggest issue is going to be this thing, this love thing, which is very Matt James esque. We're kind of dipping into this thing. I think Ryan is also 28. I'm in my late 20s. I've never been in love before. This doesn't. Again, it's not my preference if I were to meet, but also like it's not the worst thing in the world. He'll get there. Everyone has to fall eventually. If this is your biggest issue, she seems to me someone who's patient enough. She doesn't seem like she needs so much. She doesn't seem needy to me, like Virginia, for example. She seems like somebody who's kind of confident in herself and will be okay with. I mean, I'm not saying she's going to be okay with waiting forever. Maybe she'll get a little frustrated, but I think that she'll kind of be okay with going at his pace. It kind of reminded me a little bit of, I think her name was Jess. She was the twin, and she was with Austin. And I think she said that she loved him first, and he wasn't saying. Yeah, so it kind of annoyed her. But again, she was confident in the relationship and knew it would come. And that's how I think that this one's going to be. I don't see anything else going that bad for them.
I don't know. I don't get that. I feel like,
Oh,
yeah, I feel like on the spectrum of like, let's just say Virginia is really needy of that
yeah.
affirmation and recognition or whatever. I think that Clara might be like right there. Like if Virginia's right here, Clara's right here. Um,
Oh,
really, because it seems like Clara, she's probably had, I think she was one of the people who had issues in past relationships and still might be friends with her ex and falls in love really easily. So I think she is going to need that validation that someone at least feels something for her. And Ryan is a Gemini. So I hope that he is going to articulate how he is feeling when he is feeling it.
yeah,
Gemini boys tend to be a little sus,
yeah, for
a
sure.
little sus. So,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, communication is our thing. So I'm hoping that he will communicate with her like, yeah, I like you, I adore you. I'm not there yet. I can still seeing that making her be a little bit upset, but I think that she still is going to need a little bit more than you think.
Okay, maybe she will. I can see him because again, I know he's a Gemini and all this, but he really surprised me last week. A lot of things
Yeah,
were surprising. So I have a feeling he's gonna say everything to her except that he loves her. But I feel like
yeah,
he's going to feel like, hey, I'm in this. I'm with you. I feel strongly about. Like I can see him giving that verbal reassurance that I understand. I need something like that. Like that's important. But of course, I don't think he's just going to jump into the love thing, and that might freak her out. But I could see him being pretty good with the communication. I
yeah.
hope.
I
Might
hope
not be
so.
like you said because she jumps into love so quick, so it might not be enough words for her. But I think that he'll be giving something. He's not just going to be like nothing.
Stoic. Yeah, he'll give her something. I think he's going to probably tell her where he's at, and I appreciate that. And I hope that it works out for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it will. I don't see any real glaring issues,
No,
but yeah.
I think they're very cute. Okay, who's next?
Let's just go with the boring one, Haley and Jacob. Honestly, there wasn't enough in the preview for me to even gather, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to work. Haley's probably like, yeah, I'm over it, and trying to talk to Dr. Pepper about how they can try to like each other, but I'm pretty sure she's going to be over it very soon.
I agree. This seems like the couple to me that's like never even going to kiss each other. Like I can
Yeah,
see them like never like the idea of them like hugging or holding each other's hand, like anything. And I think it's more so him because again, she's a perfectly lovely person. He just seems so
awkward.
exotic and like it's just I can't ever see them with a closeness. Let's say I don't in any way, not even sexually, just even get close about let's have these real deep conversations. Like all he wants to talk about is his dog and his renovations. He talked about his renovations to everybody at the wedding. Like I'm over it. I don't want to hear about
Yeah,
the
that's
renovations.
all he could talk about, which was so
Well, he
weird. She was
was.
talking about
I
so many
renovated my
different things.
that was it. I renovated my backyard and now it's a beach. Okay, like we don't care. So that one, you're right, boring, didn't care.
Yeah.
Next. We can go with Eric and Virginia.
Okay. The fact that he told her, we saw him say he loved her,
Nuts.
pretty big. Was not expecting that. Last week we were like, it's going to be fun for him for like 2 weeks and he's going to be over it. I'm not
That could
sure
have
where they were.
that could have been within the first 2 weeks, to be fair.
There's no way. You think he would have told her
I
in the
don't know.
first 2 weeks?
I see them having like
They're at
this
the
high
pool, right?
roller coaster, like it's gonna go so high, like they're definitely gonna have sex within the first 3 days. I feel like they're gonna tell each other they love each other within 2 weeks. It's gonna be weird. There's no way they're making it to the end. There's no way. But clearly they had a lot of fighting going on.
They
So
did.
I
I
don't know.
don't know.
They're
I
they're, they're
almost I feel like they might work now. I just
yeah.
because the fact that I heard him say he loved her, that makes me think, all right, he's in. He's in it. They're gonna figure it out.
You know who they kind of remind me of? As soon as he said that he loved her, I'm like, oh, this looks like one of these love to hate you type of things. And I always forget their name, but the girl had red hair and
Yep.
the guy.
Yep.
Yeah. This is exactly that, where they
Yeah.
literally hate each other every day. He moved out every day. They
Yeah.
never want to talk again, and then they come back and they love each other. Like this could be that, which is like I just assumed that he would be like a little bit too grown up for that.
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason that like kitty quirkiness of him is coming out with her. Like it's really coming out.
Yeah.
It's like the shining part of his personality right now. So maybe it's just that giddy. It looks like a giddy first love. It looks like a teenage love to me, like a teenage love affair.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And good for him. If that's what he needed, I mean, he seems like he's like rather just like straight and narrow guy. I don't think that they're going to get in that many fights as Elizabeth or Beth and Jamie, which was on the North Carolina
Oh
season
yeah,
of Married at First Sight.
yeah.
And they were like the standout, honestly. When she said, I don't like to have basic Caucasian sex, I mean, that is one of the top quotes in reality TV history.
Huge.
Um, oh, that was great. But I don't see them getting as many fights because their fights were explosive. And yes, they're still together, but they were explosive.
Yep.
I just feel like they're gonna get Virginia and what's the guy's name?
Eric.
Eric are going to get into like smaller things. Maybe he's going to be jealous because she goes out a lot, or he might have an issue with that. But man, if that man loves her and how
Yep.
she was acting, I think they might be okay.
Yeah.
So
He
surprised. I can't believe I'm saying that.
yeah, he was the one who made the comment and said, guys and girls can't be friends. They can't be friends. So who knows what her I didn't know she had a lot of guy friends. So maybe that'll be a problem. But again,
Yeah.
it just seems if the love is there, a lot of stuff falls to the wayside. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
might work. I
Yeah.
stand
I can't
corrected.
believe I'm saying it, but they're one. So I mean,
They're gonna be so fun to watch. They're gonna
yeah.
be that I think probably the best one to watch. I think eventually Paige and Chris, I'm gonna have to shut my eyes because I'm gonna be so embarrassed. But they're gonna be like so fun,
Not
so
embarrassed. Yeah.
literally embarrassed. Okay, so that's all
Yeah.
I have for them. Else?
Let's do Bree and Vincent. So
Okay.
cute. Both saying they love each other. Oh, I'm like, I can't believe they gave it that to us so early on, but that just made me like,
Yeah, yeah. We've had some couples on the show that I've really loved. I have a strong feeling they're gonna be my all time favorite.
yeah.
Like favorite. They're both. I love them both so much
Mm-hmm.
individually, and then together they're just like a force. I feel like
Yeah.
their personality melds so well. She's just. I love that she's particular but not overbearing. I love that he's just so go with the flow and he just
Mm-hmm.
looks so into her. He's the way he's looking at her. It's like he's really looking at her, unlike
Mm-hmm.
the next one we're gonna get into. But it just seems like he's so engaged and
Yeah.
really wants life with his wife, which is what you
Yeah.
want out of the show. This is the
Yeah.
point of the show. You're married. This is not like, a hookup or your girlfriend. This is your
Yeah.
wife. And like he is putting every foot forward to be like, I'm gonna make this work. And not because he's like forcing it, it's just because he really wants it. And I think her as well. It just seems like
Yeah.
they want and the match is just
And there's a
perfection.
connection. There's a connection there. She was so cute because I think, kind of going back to her wedding, she was talking about like everything she liked. She was like, bald head, check, beard,
Oh,
check. I'm like, oh, so she really like this is everything that she wanted. Wow, like good for her.
the benefits of being particular, she probably told the matchmakers every single thing she wanted, and look what she got.
But
When
she's
you're vague,
also probably self-aware enough to figure that out versus someone saying, yeah, I want a traditionalist. And
stupid.
and then you're like, you go out every weekend with your friends and you lead a conversation by saying that your sister is gay. Like, Virginia, how did that how, nothing is wrong with that, right? But it's just the fact that you are telling the matchmakers one thing, you get this, but then you have a completely different lifestyle that might be for somebody else. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so yes, Bree knew what she wanted, and it seems like they both knew what they wanted, and they got what they wanted. So love them. Hope that they work. Can't wait to watch.
I'm just so honestly so happy for them. And of course, we know like normally it's like one or two couples that make it. It's not great, but if they're the only ones that make it, I honestly will be happy. I just think that they knocked this one out of the park. They
Yeah.
freaking killed it. I love it. They're so cute. And finally, okay, so I'm gonna let you start with the Chris and Paige season. What do you think about all of that?
Where should we start? Should we start when she looked upset when she went talked to Pastor Kyle. I said Kyle, Pastor Cal, and she said, "Yeah, we've been having sex every day." And she said they had been having sex unprotected, and she looked like she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
sick to
Let's
her
stop. Let's
stomach.
stop. Yeah, let's
Did we
stop there.
start
Let's
there?
stop. Yeah. That was what I think you saw me, but that was when my mouth dropped down. It was like, what? So that's confirmed that like they're okay. So I hope that she's happy with that, but like that already seemed off to me. It just seems so like he's like such a freaking creep. It's so weird. And then she did say unprotected, right?
She sure did.
So they're
Sure did.
serious about pregnancy or whatever. Like it was so uncomfortable to hear her. And Pastor Cal, he was
He was
looking
like,
like, what? I think he was honestly, and he always has like kind of a weird face. He was like shocked.
well, he all
Okay.
every season when they start talking about sex, he's like, "Is it protected?" And
Yes.
he always asks that question for good reason, because that's a lot to then go through. You just got married, and all of a sudden you're having sex unprotected. On top of that,
Yeah.
a
It was
lot.
that was a lot. And it kind of made me feel weird about their sex. I don't know. The whole sex life thing is weird. Like now I'm curious to know if they have sex that first night. We'll find
I'm
out. But like
sure. I'm sure. I'm sure they did.
I
I'm
think so
sure they
too.
did.
Yeah. That's
And
so sad.
it's unfortunate because on this show, sometimes a lot of couples do start off during the honeymoon having sex to try to build that connection, and then it just kind of just goes to crap.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she was trying to be able to connect with him because she said throughout the episode that she wasn't sure if he was attracted to her. So I'm sure that that's the type of like affirmation that you kind of want from your husband. Unfortunately, it's with him, but and she probably also wants it too. It's not just that she just needs it because she's helpless, right? It's probably because she just wants to have sex. I mean, she bought a whole bunch of lingerie, regardless of who it was. She was going to do what she wanted
Yeah.
to do, right? So it has nothing to do with Chris. It's just unfortunate that it has to be with him. Honestly, I'm just sad that she
Yeah.
wasted it.
Yeah. It's not about her having sex the first time. She's allowed to have sex whenever she wants. It's just
Right.
he just seems like such a scary guy to me who's going to do things mentally to her that are going to damage her. And I don't like that. And I think it probably is going to start with the sex because I could see him even being super demeaning during the sex, which is like, oh, I could just see him being like gross. Just
Well, if that's what
so.
she wants, right? She wants more
No,
of
of
a
course.
submissive thing.
That's what she wants. That's fine. I can just see like the because he has this. I don't think it's real, but he has like this fake dominating personality, and I think it's gonna go in every aspect of their relationship. Like in the sex, he's gonna want it exactly how he wants. It doesn't matter what she wants. It doesn't matter what she like. I can see it. Like whatever she likes, he's gonna like the opposite, and he's gonna be like, "Well, I don't care what you like. I'm not trying anything that you
And
want to
she's
do."
gonna
Like,
be like, okay.
yeah, and it's like
I
okay,
hope
because it's just
not.
I hope not either. I hope she, stands up or whatever. But it just was gross, and that was scary that they weren't using protection. Because if this whole baby thing is actually real, if this is real, which it's sounding, they kept saying it. So if this is
They
real, it's very unfortunate.
Yeah. So then after that scene, we got a couple people telling him like, "You need to step up. Where are you going to step up?" And then he said, "How am I not stepping up? I got a kid on the way." And we're like, "What?" Um, my first thing
Yeah.
is it Paige's or someone else's? To me, I
That,
think it's somebody else's. I think all these friendships that he had, he messed around and got somebody else pregnant. That's what I think he did. And this person is going to keep the kid or whatever. I don't know what she's going to do, but she's obviously going to let him know that she is pregnant with child. And Paige is going to have to figure out what's going on. That's why she said, "Oh, my vows are being tested. Lord, my vows are being tested." Because I'm sure that's what it is. I don't think she's pregnant. I hope she's not pregnant. If she is, she wouldn't have said her vows were being tested. But that would make sense as to why Clara was like, "So what about Paige? What about your marriage?"
yeah, very true. Your idea makes perfect sense. I didn't even think about that as I watched it. I will say though, her saying that she's tested about her vows, that could be said about anything. Like who knows why she's saying. She very well could be pregnant, but your idea makes a lot of sense. And actually, it's the definition of horrifying for me that like you just committed your life to somebody and now there's some woman with child. It's literally
Who's calling me the B word on the phone? If that was that girl, listen, either that had to be an ex, an old fling, or his mama. So I
yeah.
hope that his mom wouldn't have said that, but it could have been. Who knows?
No.
And then him
It's so
fighting.
many different things. It could be so many different things. I'm just bottom line is I'm scared for her because like you said, her
Yes.
vows are being tested. So again, who knows? Could he have been cheat? Could he be cheating currently? Could he? Because like you said, the baby thing that could have happened last month or whatever, and then the girl, So or is he like currently still having these friends? The whole friend thing that thing didn't sit well with me because it's like those things tend to linger. Doesn't really matter if you're married or not. People don't really care about that. It's like if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it. So did he really cut things off, or is he still messing around with people and all this other stuff, especially since he keeps saying he's not attracted to her. I'm curious to see because I'm sure he'll tell us how the sex was, like whatever, because that could bring them closer. That also brings your attraction closer. But the fact that he started it off with "I'm not attracted to her" to me is a grim sight, and I feel like he's the type of person where if he doesn't feel satisfied in one part of his life, he's not going to try to fix it. He's going to go find it somewhere else.
Mm. He
He's
did
not
say
self. He's not going to try in his self or go to therapy and try to figure out why this is or what we can do to change changes. None of that. It's like, oh, I don't like this about her, but I like it about Molly down the street, so I'm gonna just go deal with her.
I mean, good point. He did say that he was attracted to her, but not necessarily physically. I will say that I did feel like he was getting excited. I'm not sure if it was because he started thinking about having sex with her or if it's because he was like, oh, this is actually like a great girl that I could build an empire with, right? Which obviously then it goes back to a marriage for careers and money and not necessarily based off of physical attraction. But he did say that he was attracted to her. It just wasn't physically focused or forward, which for him would be good for someone who every situation is a more physically focused, or forward relationship. Um, but obviously, somehow he makes it physically focused anyway. You start talking about masturbation. If they've had sex every day, then they obviously were physical early on, which is unfortunate. But obviously, that's probably a trend, and that's all he knows. And it's he need to see
But
some
I'm honestly, and again, it's not just him; it's so many men. But I'm tired of these excuses where it's the only thing you know. It doesn't have to be the only thing you know.
Yeah.
And he's decided not to, and decided the only people he's going to listen to are his pastor, which I'm not saying anything's wrong with him. I mean, I don't know; he's a little sus to me, and the daddy. And it's like this is not what a relationship should look like. It just isn't.
Yeah.
And this is how you talk. And again, even if I was on the show and maybe I wasn't instantly attracted, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to go tell the camera that I'm not attracted because like, are you not even thinking that eventually you have to watch this back with her? Or do you just know it's not going to work so you don't care? That's a different type of thing. If you just don't care because you know that by the end you're going to be together. But if you're really serious and like you said, he said in his vows that he's a devout Christian and God is looking down on them. So if you're really devoted to this, why would you ever say something to a camera like that? And talk about, oh, we had a fight about I don't think she's attractive. Why would you say that? I don't know. Or talk like that to your friends, or like let your dad talk to her that way. It was all just so
Yeah.
much. The baby thing, I think you're right. I think it's somebody else's baby. I oh god. And her saying that her vows were being tested also scares me because I feel like it's like I'm just gonna pray through it and then I'm gonna stay there. It's like no, leave, leave, leave. And it could be like the end of the 8 weeks and they're with the experts and she's like, I really want to make this work. And he's like, no, I'm going to go be with my baby mom or whatever. And then that's it. So it's not going to end. It doesn't matter. It's not going to end well. If she ended herself, I'll be so happy. But I still think even with this baby thing, which really threw me for a loop, it threw me for a loop. But even with that, I do not think that she's going to leave. Like, I think if I just heard that and nothing else, maybe. But that comment about vows being tested, I'm like, I honestly just think she's getting on her hands and knees praying about it, praying through it, and is gonna
Nah,
fight to. I hope not.
I
I
don't think
hope
so.
not.
I think she's, you know what? They were so, they sat apart so far away from each other during like the last ceremony, and it just, their body language was different.
Oh, I don't remember. I didn't remember. Okay.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope she's over and she's just like, yeah, I can't do it. And honestly, her friends have sense. Her friends early on, they were like, is he serious? Like, you don't mean that, do you? Like asking him, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but then realizing that he actually was meaning these things, even to the point where they're like, yeah, I like him sometimes. Sometimes he does stuff like that. How are you saying on the first day that, yes, I like him sometimes? Or what? When her
You
friend
talk
said
to
that,
him
like
for
sometimes he
five. You
does
talk
good
to him for
things.
5 minutes. You only talk to him for
Yes.
5 minutes. So if you only like him sometimes, it means you don't like him.
It
That's what
doesn't,
that
it
means.
means that he's obviously suspect. He's doing things that he shouldn't be doing. So I think that she has sense. I think that her friends have sense. All in all, she's not going to stay with him. There's no way. There's no way. I'd be
I
so
pray.
surprised. There's no way. Mm.
I pray. Because the only reason why I would say that you could be right about that is because this man is not going to get on his hands and knees and beg her to stay with him. That's the other issue. He's not going to like do all this bad stuff and then beg Paige to be there. Because I feel like if he did that, maybe she would be like, oh, okay, like he's going to do all this crazy stuff and then be like, well, you can stay or go. That's what his answer. Oh, you can be here or not. And then it's like, okay, well then the answer is not. I'm not going to stay. So I could see that. But if he even for a second puts out a seed of, hey, I want to be with you, please stick by me in this, and you can be a stepmom. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how their relationship progresses outside of this turmoil, and if they actually like each other, and if she actually likes him, then maybe. But honestly, I feel like she sees all the red flags, and I hope that she sees how she can deserve more, and like sees her worth,
Yeah.
knows that
I
she
think
can get somebody better. She's young. She's young.
I think she'll eventually see that about her worth and stuff, but I don't know what that's going to mean. Like if she's actually going to leave or not. So many things gave me pause. Like when she said that they were having sex every day, I'm like, she
How?
likes him. He likes him then, because you're not doing that. Like because you don't have to at the early start of it. You don't have to be having sex at all. So the fact that you're having sex every day and also you're not using condoms, you're not doing. So you've already set a boundary. That the boundary ain't there. That, you don't have to be using condoms. You don't. There's no. They know she's not on birth control. So
She
it's like,
has
what are you doing? I don't
she
know.
has so much faith, I think, in this, and I feel like is forgetting that he is like a stranger, right? Like, in no way do I want her to be Karen, but I also think that she's being real lenient, right? Like, at least
Yeah.
strap it on. Like, come on. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll
Oh,
see. Just so sad. We'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Well,
yes. Well, until next week.
until next week, as always, follow Black Girls Gab, you know, on Instagram. I'm just so sad. Uh, yeah, but follow Black Girls Gab on Instagram. We're posting more videos. We're watching The Bachelor right now, Married at First Sight, and Temptation Island is coming soon. On our Instagram, we're posting different clips and sneak peeks from the Temptation Island, and we're so excited. So follow us. And yeah, got anything else, Sharna?
That's it. We'll
That's
see you
it
guys very soon with our next video.
with our next video. All right. Bye.